especially early on, you know, he had a lot of work to do. So I learned a lot about him, watching him respond from that, where maybe the movement and everything going on, maybe a lot of guys just say, hey, it's not meant to be, and just kind of pack it up and go home. And he just kind of kept going to work every day and just showing up and just getting better. And I think you learn a lot about people when you watch them in times of adversity, right? When things are going good, you know, I think everybody kind of can put on a good face, but when things don't go your way, you kind of, you watch and you learn about them. And so I think that was probably the big thing that stuck out to me. And I think that with our players, kind of watching him. I mean, last year going into the season, he was our 4th quarterback, right? And after being a heralded transfer coming in and big expectations from us and all these things, and then he just quietly over the next 12 months, you know, went to work and has put himself in this position. So that's probably the biggest thing that I've seen.
And to follow to that, you talked a little bit about Xavier earlier. During the spring game, we saw a great connection between Caden. Xavier hooked up a lot. What excites you about Xavier, just the player, and then also the connection that he has with Caden going into the
I think Xavier's a young man that has a big potential. Big future. I think for him it's been about getting stronger and getting in the weight room. He had a really good summer, you know, this past summer, and he's still learning the game. But, you know, my experience, I've been fortunate to coach some really good receivers, and you kind of see some similarities among all of those guys. Each of them are different in their own way, but, you know, guys that naturally catch the ball and can catch the ball in different positions. You know, being able to catch a ball just perfectly thrown, that's probably only 30% of the time. The other 70%, the ball's all over the place because these quarterbacks are moving and pocket throwing, and Xavier's one of those guys that really can catch the ball. He has a very big radius. Reminds me a lot of DeAndre Hopkins that I had there at Clemson, where you just kind of get it within that 10-foot frame, and he's going to come down with the ball, and that's what I've seen from Weaver really throughout his development. And then, yeah, he has a good connection with Cade, and you know, we're planning to play a lot of wideouts, just kind of us playing fast, and so there's a lot of guys that are getting reps. It's not just like a couple guys getting reps with Cade. He throws to all those guys, but they definitely have had a good connection through spring and this week of fall camp.
Coach, talking about special teams, how hard is it to work on punt block and field goal block?
Well, you know, we have our kind of plan that we work through that. I think, you know, you start with your punt team as number one emphasis because you can't learn how to protect for your punter. The game will be over pretty quick. And then same thing on field goal protection. That's kind of always the priority. And then once you get those stable, then you start working on the punt block, field goal block, and that's kind of where we are over the last week. Really been emphasizing that a little bit more, and you know, doing a good job. Coach DePrada, our special teams coordinator, does an excellent job with our special teams. Very detailed, organized, and really involving a lot of guys. And I've been pleased with the progress we've made so far. We've still got a little bit of work to do here over the next week and a half.
When you look at some of the newcomers from last year, T.J. Robinson and Will Jones and Jimmy Horn and Christian Williams, obviously the speed has been upgraded a lot. And it may sound simple, you get a guy that can run faster than the next guy or chase somebody down, but how important is that just to have that kind of speed brought into the team?
Yeah, you know, I feel really good about the core group of guys that came back from last year's team. You know, obviously we went through some transition and been enough said on that, but the core group that showed back up in January, really, you know, I feel really good about where the work ethic and leadership of that group. And I think, you know, our job as coaches each year is to add players to that group that can help us be better. And we definitely have been able to do that. I think for me, the thing I'm most proud of is not what I see on the field, and all those guys you mentioned have made plenty of plays on the field. What I'm most proud of is seeing the way that our team, the returning guys, and the newcomers, the way they kind of embraced each other and brought those guys into the fold. That, you know, for me, again, I came from a place we didn't take transfers in 12 years, so I hadn't had any experience with that. I was kind of interested to watch it, and I think the reason that we're a closer team right now and in a much better place, team chemistry and all that, is because our returning guys and the new guys really got in and said, hey, we're all here for the same purpose. We all chose to be here, and so that's probably the first thing that comes to my mind. But yeah, I could go through each of those guys. They all bring something different. I think overall athleticism and speed and at a few of those positions in the back end, a little bit more size. Yeah, I'm definitely encouraged and definitely feel like that's going to allow us to make some progress.
All right, thank you.
All right, appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
You ready? Good time for a few questions.